Yo, what do YouTube? It's your boy Lil Trady. I'm back with another My Thoughts video and what games we seen last night. But the game I'm finna start off with, it was the game of the night, and that was the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And what a comeback by the Grizzlies, and what a collapse by the Timberwolves. But I'm gonna start off with the winners, and that was obviously the Memphis Grizzlies. Great performance, especially in the second half. And I believe they came back by like 20 points in like two different possessions. And they just came back from a 26-point deficit. Shout out to Desmond Bain. He had a great game. But John Morant, he struggled in that game. But they really didn't need him for real. Because Ja, he only had 16 points on 5 of 18 shooting and 5 of 9 at the free throw line. So I think Ja needs to be better. But they really didn't need him for real. Because the rest of the team stepped up. Brandon Clark stepped up. Shout out to Brandon Clark because he made some hustle plays. Had some big defensive stops. Jaren Jackson Jr. also had a good game. Just all-around great performance by the Memphis Grizzlies. And they're showing why they're future contenders. They're showing it. The young core of Brooks, Ja, Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark, Desmond Bain, that's going to be a scary-ass team to look out for. And I forgot to mention Dylan Brooks because he had a great game. He even hit that one dagger three, which really just sealed the game. So shout out to Dylan Brooks for that. Just a great performance by the Memphis Grizzlies. But for the Timberwolves in the fourth quarter, disgusting. Just, they couldn't buy a bucket in the fourth quarter. They started off good in the first quarter and in the second quarter, and then they blew a lead heading into halftime. But they upped their lead back up to 20 plus, and then they blew it again. Unacceptable performance by the Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns, not a great performance. Just unacceptable. Only 9 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. just bullied you. And like Cat, he just halves those games. The next game, first game, he be looking like the most dominant big, one of the most dominant bigs. And then the next game, he looks like one of the most softest players of all time. Like, I'm not joking. We synced in that Clippers playing game. Guy couldn't buy a bucket. Guy was just chucking up sky hooks like he's Kareem. So I think Cat needs to be better. He got absolutely destroyed by Brandon Clark on that glass. Just annihilated. So I think Cat should be better. Anthony Edwards, he started off slow, but in the third quarter, he started to catch some steam. Patrick Beverley, he had an all right game. D'Angelo Russell, he was solid. But Karl Anthony Towns, not a great performance. So, Cat, I know you're capable of doing better. But just a great performance by the Timberwolves. A collapse by the Timberwolves. And a great performance by the Memphis Grizzlies to go up 2-1. And if they steal game 4 and they go back to Memphis for a game 5, whew, Minnesota, I better look out. Because the Grizzlies, they want all the smoke. But the next game, we got the Dallas Mavericks versus the Utah Jazz. And the Mavericks, great performance. Jalen Brunson, outstanding performance. Again, going out there looking like James Harden. Unlike James Harden, the real James Harden is playing like a left-handed Raymond Fountain. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson, he's out there balling. He's a straight-up dog. Him and Jordan Poole, they've been dogs in these playoffs. Breaking out, showing why they're future stars. Alongside their franchise players. That being Steph Curry and Luka Doncic. And shout out to those Mavericks, man. Because they've been, even without Luka, they're still holding their own against the Utah Jazz. Despite Luka's injury. They're still out there holding their own. And they're up 2-1. Against the Utah Jazz, who were the number 1 seed last year and are one of the best defensive teams in the league this year. Top 5 defense, I should say. And a top 5 offense. So shout out to the Dallas Mavericks. And Spencer Dinwiddie with a nasty-ass posterized on a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and Rudy Gobert. So shout out to Dinwiddie for that. And Maxi Kleber. Not enough people give Maxi Kleber a lot of love. Because he's stepping up big time in this series. He's hitting big shots. And I believe he's averaging like 17 points a game. Or like 50% from 3. So shout out to Kleber. All those other guys. Bertans. All of them. But the Utah Jazz tonight, yeah, they didn't play that great. D. Mitch, he had an all right game. But you could argue that Jalen Brunson's outplaying Donovan Mitchell. Like, you could argue that. Because D. Mitch, he's averaging 32 a game, but he's doing it on 41% shooting from the field. Meanwhile, Brunson's averaging 32, but he's doing it on 50% shooting from the field. So you could argue that JB's outplaying D. Mitch. And they're obviously exposing the Utah Jazz because that's what the Jazz are used to being. Getting exposed in the playoffs. Especially Rudy Gobert. Jalen Brunson is just absolutely just cooking the Jazz. He dropped 41 points a game too. And now he dropped 32 last night. So shout out to JB. But the Utah Jazz, they're showing why they look like frauds. And they're showing it yet again. Like, Jazz, like, I don't know what's up with them. Ever since that Michael Jordan put them out of their misery, the Jazz has really never recovered. They blew a 25-point lead against a Kawhi Leonard-less Clippers team. They blew a 3-1 lead against the Nuggets. People overlooked that because the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. But we need to start holding the Jazz accountable for some of these playoff failures. Like I said, last year, in the last 2 games, they lost to a Clippers team without their best player in Kawhi Leonard. And Paul George and Terrence Mann just went off on y'all niggas. And Rudy Gobert is just getting exposed. Like, every time we always have a small ball lineup, that man Gobert, he looks like not a defensive player of the year. And look, I'm not here to give Gobert all the blame. Because like I said, the Jazz need to get some more defensive players. Because Gobert can't just move around everywhere. So everybody chill out. Chill the fuck out. Because Rudy Gobert doesn't deserve all the blame. All right? But I'm not saying he's excusable or nothing. Because this man is just getting exposed. Again. And if they end up losing this series, and Luka Doncic could potentially be out for the rest of the series, and y'all lost to him twice? Twice? Yeah. They need to do something about that roster. Because they can't win a championship with that exact same roster. Y'all are not the number 1 seed no more. Y'all are the number 5 seed. Number 5. And now y'all losing to a Luka Doncic-less Dallas Mavericks team. So the Jazz need to get this shit fixed. Because if they don't, another disappointing year. But move on to the next game. We got the Warriors and the Nuggets. And them Warriors, man, they're showing why they're legit. Showing why they're picking off where they left off in 2015. Jordan Poole, another good performance. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry also stepped up. And Draymond Green was a pest on defense. Had a game-winning steal, a clutch steal on the MVP Nikola Jokic. So shout out to Draymond Green for that. And Gary Payton Jr., shout out to him too, because he was hitting untimely threes. Like, that man could not miss. He caught heat before halftime. I believe he hit like 4 threes. So shout out to GPJ. And everybody else stepped up. Wiggins stepped up. And the Warriors are showing why they could potentially win it all this year. Do I think they can? I don't know. I got to wait and see. And now they're up 3-0. So, yeah, that series is over with. So, shout out to the Warriors and the Nuggets. Yeah, Nikola Jokic, he can only do as much. He had 37 points, but it wasn't enough. Because nobody else didn't show up. And sure, Eric Gordon has little 18 points, but I really don't care because Eric Gordon's been playing like shit for the last 2 games. And nobody else really didn't show up. So, yeah, Jokic has been backpacking his team. And that was kind of an issue. When they come into the playoffs, they going to be focused all on Jokic. Even though nobody really can guard Jokic because if you double him, he going to find an open guy. But his guy's been bricking a lot of threes. So, yeah, it's been tough for the Nuggets. But I hope Jamal Murray can come back as the same player and the Nuggets can get back to being contenders. But it ain't their year this year. So, yeah, Warriors in 4, I guess. But this your Bolo Trady signing out. Peace.